Okay, the next topic is self-defense. And we'll talk about it in the context of law of one, densities, scale of human consciousness, and what's the right thing to do. Okay, so self-defense is usually used as a means of, someone said, acquittal, for if you are, charged with murder, for example. Self-defense is a rational reason to kill someone who is trying to kill you. But I don't think it's the first thing that you're allowed to do, except maybe in the state of Florida where you have the stand your ground law. In most places, if you have the opportunity to escape from someone who's a clear and present danger, that is your first obligation. But I suppose if you're unable to escape the immediate threat, then self-defense becomes more and more a good way of justifying your killing of the other person. They were about to kill me. They had a loaded gun pointed at my head. I couldn't run away. They were like 3 feet across from me, and they were... So, what's the point of it? Well, with this idea that we are increasing our consciousness, is it still a reliable way of justifying killing someone? Self-defense. Some people, I think, are trying to understand this law of one idea, that we're all one being in essence, but we have individual personalities that we developed because we appear to be in separate physical forms. This personality is often called the ego. What is our real obligation if we are all one being, but one body is pointing a gun at another one? Are we supposed to take the bullet because we're all one being according to law of one? Or are we supposed to use self-defense or run away to avoid a big shooting match? Because we're all one thing in the end. Well, you have to take this law of one and break it down, and is it true? I'm taking a very long time to give you more words on the subject. I realize that, and the reason is it's not an easy thing to It's not an easy one. Why is that? Well, at lower levels of consciousness, on the scale of human consciousness, if you're towards the bottom of the scale of human consciousness, you really identify with your physical body. And you have a lot of attachments to everything that comes about with having a human body. You have family, friends, you have all the things you enjoy doing. In other words, you are here in your physical body, you think you are your physical body, and if someone takes your physical body away, you're not going to be too happy. Someone who is very high on the scale of human consciousness, well, Ramana Maharshi was a noted sage in India, and it sort of appeared that towards the end of his life, he didn't care if he still had his physical form or not. So, sort of reading between the lines, it seems like the higher in consciousness you are, the less you identify with this physical body, which some other people, Aaron Doughty, for example, the YouTube commentator, he calls it your avatar. So people higher on the scale of consciousness realize that they are not their body, but they have this body that they can express themselves through. And as long as consciousness wants to use this body, it's going to be used. It's less and less about you as an individual deciding whether you're going to have a living avatar body or not. Mostly to rise in consciousness to higher levels on the scale of human consciousness, you have to let go of the reins of operating your avatar body. In other words, through meditation and the process of letting go and letting go and letting go, you actually let go of controlling the body altogether. At the bottom of the scale of consciousness, everything is about control. You controlling your body and using your body to control others through things like capitalism, governments. At the higher levels of consciousness, you've let go of control drama, and more, what operates your body is perhaps pure consciousness, higher consciousness, definitely higher on the scale of, if you let go, does it mean your body never moves? No. Your body, if you stop telling your body to get up out of bed at 5 to 7 in the morning, your body eventually will get up and get out of bed. And if you didn't tell your body to get out of bed, who did? The answer is something else did. And will it happen? Well, it happens for me, so you have to try the experiment. Someday when you don't have to get up, maybe just lie there, and instead of you telling your body and using your intention to signal the body to roll out of bed, don't do it, and just wait. Wait as long as you can without you sending signals to the body to get out of bed, and see if the body actually gets out of bed for you. Where are we going with all this? Well, self-defense. At lower levels of the scale of consciousness, self-defense means protecting your avatar. At higher levels of consciousness, where you've let go of running your avatar, and Dr. David R. Hawkins said, when he was sort of in these higher states, some of these enlightened states, he said the body was like a karmic wind-up toy. So it followed karma, according to Dr. Hawkins, Dr. Karma, and that's what it did. And he rode along to see what the body would do. Did Dr. Hawkins, would he be concerned if someone... Yes, he was very concerned, because he felt that the earth was a dangerous place, and he didn't want evil people to hurt him. So if people, he was well known, and he was very cautious when people would mail him packages and things. He wouldn't just open them and receive them. He would muscle test to see if the package was safe. He relied on muscle testing extensively. So, yes, he called himself an enlightened person, and he was still concerned about protecting the physicality of him and his, his wife and maybe his employees when it came to these kind of things, packages being sent by someone you don't know. So I don't think you can come to the conclusion that people at higher levels of consciousness automatically don't care about the avatar body. Seems to me you could say that even at higher levels of consciousness, self-defense is still something that's going to be done. Perhaps it is by the whatever it is that runs the body at higher levels of consciousness. It's also interesting that, there's a lot of, I haven't taken things like karate and martial arts, but I do have the feeling, from watching enough of these movies, that martial artists are very much into doing things very consciously, mindful meditation kind of things. So their consciousness is heightened compared to the average Joe. And we all know that martial artists, if you attack them, I don't think they're just going to stand there. They're going to defend themselves, and they're going to do a very good job. And I would say these martial artists are going to be higher on the scale of human consciousness than the average Joe, because they are very mindful and conscious of what they're doing in every single moment. So, to conclude, why did I even ask this question? The question came about because there were some people who said another story of Dr. Hawkins was he remembered a past life where he and someone else were in some kind of a duel. Maybe it was a sword duel in some long past life. And in the end, they both stabbed each other and killed each other at the same time. And then they both crossed over to the other side at the same time. And they realized that instead of mortal enemies that they were on this side of the veil, on the other side of the veil, when they're out of the body, they were actually very good friends. So what does it mean? Well, somebody wanted to say, well, if you're at a higher consciousness like David Hawkins, you should just allow someone to hurt you indefinitely because you're at a higher consciousness. So the point is, no, I don't think that's the point at all. I think the point is that we should value these human bodies individually and as a society. So anyone who is out to hurt other people is still a problem, and we still have to be very cautious of dangerous people.